Let's talk about changing your programming, your subconscious mind. Find out where and why things are broken, how to fix it, and what you can do daily to kind of change that. So diving a little bit into a previous video on the neuroscience is what we're looking at. And then we're going to get a little bit more into the affirmations. Now, today's going to be fairly brief because it's going to be in part a challenge for you. Okay. This is going to be a continuation of the challenge yesterday. So hopefully you guys have done some of this, and then you're going to take a few minutes. So, we have Curtis already said, hey, I did an hour worth of meditation. So, hey, you're awesome. That's great. Otherwise, what we're going to do is I'm going to give you guys some stuff to look at and to put into place. All right. So part of this, let me dive here. Here we go. All right. So yesterday we talked a lot about affirmations. We talked about the power of the subconscious mind. And the key to this, if you're looking to change your reality, you've got the capability of doing that. If your mind is struggling in whatever way, your brain can change your brain. And that was one of the key points that was brought up yesterday. Okay. So, pay attention to all of these things. So we have the conscious, the subconscious, and the unconscious. The conscious is what makes the decisions for us. The subconscious is the kind of what's playing in the background. The unconscious is what's buried much deeper in. It's those primitive instincts along with some early childhood memories. Okay. So the subconscious beliefs have a huge impact on all of these elements. Now, we talked a little bit about this yesterday. So I behoove you, please go and study that. One of the last methods we talked about for changing your subconscious mind was identifying a Phoenix moment as an anchor that you can use that's going to strengthen you as you go forward and you start using affirmations. So here's kind of where some of this comes from. Okay. Now, what happened with affirmations? How do they work? Why do they work? So I was trying to look at some of that. So affirmations, they did one study and they took some people and they put them underneath an fMRI, right? So functional magnetic resonance imaging. So it shows that it activates the reward centers of the brain. So that's the VMF right there. And I'm going to show you a little bit more what it is, but it starts to activate the reward centers of the brain when we're using affirmations. Now, there are different types of affirmations. When you look at the past, when you're looking now and you're saying, I am, but then also future, forward looking is kind of what they call it, or future pacing affirmations. Those become inside our brain a little bit easier for our brain to handle. So I ams are important, but also I am becoming, I am developing, I am making strides towards. Those types of affirmations can give you, a little bit more activation within the areas of our brain that you need in order to kind of move forward like that. So it showed that saying the affirmations increased activity in the medial prefrontal cortex and the posterior cingulate. So what? It helps you. So it deals with what we were talking about yesterday, where some elements of your subconscious and these memories, we have memories and we have the emotions that attach to the memories, right? And some of those help protect us from things that we should be scared of. Our subconscious acts in a way it creates the pathways that allow us to act throughout our day without expending as many calories, as much energy as we would if our brains were having to create things over and over and over again, right? Affirmations begin to activate the pieces of our brain that will help us slowly modify the subconscious. It's something that needs to happen frequently, over and over. And oftentimes, because our subconscious is going to work more when we're asleep than awake, it's one reason that we spend more time doing it either right before sleep or right as we wake up. That's why they talk about meditation and affirmations during those times being of the most benefit, because your brain is closest to the waves that'll bring it to subconscious and allow your subconscious to work. Okay. So everybody's still kind of on board. And again, I'm not a therapist, psychologist, doctor, any of these things. Please study some of this on your own, but we're going to give you some elements here. So here's a couple of things that science has shown, studies have been made. These are what happens with affirmations, because there's a phenomenal book out there. It's The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murray. The thing is this was written a few years ago. You've got to recognize here, before I dive more into these studies, Joseph Murray, when he wrote the book, subconscious, affirmations, personal development, these things have been around since the turn of the 20th century, right? And books, many books were written on all of these subjects. But when it started to become a little bit more mainstream, it was, I'm a helpologist. When they began to become a little bit more mainstream, there were many people that kind of looked at it as, craziness, right? Because what we were taught and what we learned for so long was this is just the way it is. This is the way our brain thinks. And there's a weird balance between science and religion in any corner of the world. And so science was pushing back and religion was saying, no, it's this. And there's this happy medium. And Joseph Murray, with The Power of the Subconscious Mind, he balanced both religion and science within his book. And so it wasn't that it was necessarily widely accepted, but it was given a little bit more credence. More people were willing to read it than some others. Self-help, though, for years really became more mainstream into the late 80s, 90s, and beyond. And a lot of that came about because of Simon and Schuster, guys like Bob Proctor, Zig Ziglar, and others, that began to put out, more during a time when, audio cassettes became more popular. So books on audio and those kinds of trainings were suddenly put out into the masses, right? And in a way, we've gone through these educational revolutions, right? You go all the way back to, oh my gosh, it wasn't Martin. Who was it? The printing press and the Bible. Help me out, guys.
Gutenberg
was the first, but then there was, that put it out more and more, that started to disseminate the Bible to everybody. Anyway, yeah, Gutenberg is absolutely part of it, but there was more. Anyway, my brain will come up with it. My subconscious will pull it out of there at some point, and I'll bring it up. So anyway, that was kind of this first opportunity for knowledge to be expanded out there, right? And then you get into, books became more and more popular, and TV kind of got out there a little bit, but TV was entertainment. It wasn't really being used for education, right? Education was still sitting in colleges. Audiobooks became popular. And I remember years and years ago going to the library with my mom and picking up audiobooks with Zig Ziglar and listening to him as a kid, and with that amazing, if you guys have never done it, go grab some audio from Zig. And I'm sure you can find it online, but man, that deep Kentucky accent that he had is just fun to listen to. And his sense of humor, it was hilarious, right? And so, but listening to him, and I remember real specifically at one point hearing, hey, the studies have shown, and University, I want to say it was the University of Pepperdine or something, had done a study talking about how listening to audiobooks, just driving standard traffic, not even some of you guys over the road truckers, standard audiobooks going back and forth to work, within 3 years, you get the equivalent of 2 years of college education. Well, man, if you pump that up and you're listening to more, then it becomes even more. But still, people were saying, no, college education is college education. That's just different. Well, and then you have books like The Power of the Subconscious Mind, and you have others starting to come out and saying, hey, there's things that we can do subconsciously to change and better ourselves. And then you have things like the placebo effect, where doctors start to realize that, hey, the power of the mind is a lot different. And then within the last, decade, 2 decades, maybe a little bit more, we start to learn about things like neuroplasticity. And why does it work? Yeah, Nightingale, Conant, Napoleon Hill, all of those were there. Well, you had Earl Nightingale and you had Conant, right? And you had Napoleon Hill. Those were, again, they were still books. Now it became much more popular when audiobooks started to come out, and it was even easier to disseminate the information. But one of the big obstacles that people still had was this idea of neuroplasticity. Your brains can't change, right? And that's kind of how it was, because doctors for a long time, we were studying rats, and they were trying to do things, and trying to help them out with chemicals or this or that, but they were leaving them in an environment where they didn't change the stimuli, right? Guys, if you are living in a world and you're not changing what's coming into your brain, if you're not adding in different stimulus and you're not taking actions in order to modify those neurotransmitters, your brain won't change. It's not going to just change because you want to. You got to really modify things. So if I'm going to modify it, I've got to take action. Affirmations become an easy part of that. Something simple to do. Guys, listening to affirmations and saying affirmations. Anyone want to argue that's one of the easiest things that you could possibly do to start to work on yourself? I lay there with headphones on, for crying out loud, as I'm stretching my back. How hard is that? Right? I don't do yoga, but I'm standing a couple of times during the day and I'm doing, I am becoming unstoppable. People like me and I'm awesome, whatever. But I'm saying these affirmations, listening and just going through this. Real simple, right? Something really easy that I can do to increase the benefits that I can put into my own life. Garbage in, garbage out. Or modifying that to that positivity in the affirmation. So here's a few things about affirmations, and you can literally change the physical neural tracks in your brain. Absolutely. So studies show self-affirmations decrease health deteriorating stress. Right? Renee was sharing one of her wins at the beginning of this. She's starting to, over the last few nights, sleep for the first time in probably years, a good solid sleep. You think if she maintains that, she can become less stressed than she was before, and less stress than affecting everything from, again, sleep to, the cortisol levels, cholesterol, all sorts of different stuff, right? People successfully increase their physical activity levels. Affirmations have been shown to help people perceive threatening messages with less resistance. Now, threatening messages, because our subconscious is trying to protect us. So, hey, this is something new and different. New and different means scary. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that someone's coming at me with a knife for it to be threatening. It could simply mean my world is trying to change. My subconscious fights back. So giving the affirmations to power my way through that, that's what that's about, right? So next, they can make a person less likely to dismiss harmful health messages. So you pay more attention to your body, right? Students who are contending with negative stereotypes in school because their race, gender, generational status boosted their academic achievements. Okay, it's not just students. That works for adults too. Here's a few more. Effectively lowered stress and rumination, both causes of depression and anxiety. Increased feelings of hopefulness. In one study, a short affirmation exercise boosted the problem-solving abilities of chronically stressed subjects to the same level as those with low stress. Affirmation has been tested, used to successfully treat people, low self-esteem, depression. Spending just a few minutes thinking about your best qualities before a high-pressure meeting can calm your nerves, increase confidence, improve. Everybody catching all of this? Here's one of the things that I love. Chronically stressed subjects to the same level as their low stress. If you are chronically stressed, if you're chronically overwhelmed, if you are chronically frustrated, it lowers your cognitive ability. It makes it harder to think. And if I'm struggling thinking, how am I going to perform with my business? How are the conversations with my loved ones going to go? Affirmations can help you overcome that. Now, it doesn't happen overnight. But to confirm what Michael had said yesterday, your brain can change your brain. April, have supported hugely my healing of childhood trauma to thrive, not just survive. Self-hypnosis is even more powerful. Ego boosting suggestion. Yeah. Getting into self-hypnosis, like that's next level. I want all of us to master the beginning at a minimum. Right? That's now some topics for affirmations, basic ones: love, joy, health, relationships, prosperity, career, forgiveness, letting go. I looked up another list and boom, here's, I think it's, 45, 50 of them. And I'll give you guys this list. But here's the thing. How many of you guys are willing to either continue to work more strongly on what you're already doing with your affirmations, or to push yourself to the next level when it comes to them, to start the journey or to take that next step? How many of you are willing to do that? Yeah, hands up. Good. Just about everybody on video had a hand up. Fantastic. Yes, yes, yeses. Good. Triple confirmations. iPhone Wendy dropping in the hands up. Good. So here's what we've got for you guys. I'm going to have one more train. We're going to give a little bit of a run up on how to prep yourself, what to do, how to deal with when you're struggling with the affirmations, all of that. We do a little bit more tomorrow. My goal is, because today's Thursday, so my goal is hopefully by tomorrow, but it may be Monday simply because we're kicking off the week. I've got a 30-day affirmation challenge that I'm finalizing putting together. Okay. I'm going to have an introduction video that goes along with it. It'll probably be in a simple PDF format. I'll have a couple of affirmation videos that you'll be able to listen to if you want. If you don't want to use mine, I'll find you a bunch of others that you can listen to, or you can find your own. Part of this is going to entail some of what we talked about yesterday. I want you to think about which way works best for you. Is it the visualization? Is it the final result? Will your Phoenix moment, adding affirmations to that, be integral in you doing this? Whichever way to do it, right? Visualizations go hand in hand with affirmations because that's a big part of how our brain works. So whether it is visualizations, it is the moving pictures that you have. If you're the type of person that loves intricate details, or you like bullet points, whatever it is, I want you to kind of think about that over the course of the next 24 to 72 hours, because when you start your affirmations, I'm going to give you some that you can use. But I promise over the course of the next 30 days, I'm going to, if for those of you that are really serious, I may just kick off a Slack channel or a Skype group. How many of you guys are familiar with Slack? Anybody use Slack? Okay. What about Skype? Anybody more familiar with Skype? Okay. Looks like we got a few more with Skype. So I may do a Skype. Don't need another tool. Gotcha. Renee, you're fine. But I'm going to do that for some that need kind of that extra accountability. And what I'm going to do is just daily in there. Here's a reminder. Here's your affirmations. And here you go. So if you want to be a part of that, let me know, when we start. Okay. And I'll have kind of probably just a Google Doc sign up sheet for it. Okay. And all of you guys will be required, obviously, to connect with me and on Skype, and then connect to the group. But we're going to do a 30-day challenge, and we're going to push, and we're going to lift every single one of you higher than you've been, at least recently. Some of you may be looking to attain the heights that you had before, and it's been a while. Well, let's get you back there. Some of you are looking to push past and get into a new realm in your health, in relationships, financially, with your business, any of those elements. I want you to select the one or two items that you're looking to join. Tom, I'm not going to do as much on Facebook because I got a handful of Facebook groups that I already do. I'm on. I'm probably just going to do Skype. It's just real simple. I've got Skype on my phone. I get into Facebook and I get drawn into too many other things. It's just, because I get it's just too much, this group, I will tell you right now. And all right, so I'm going to wrap up the recording, then I'm going to dive into this. Guys, I love you. And if you want to hang around, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about this, but please go out, make more of yourselves, do the affirmation. Just do it. Get through whatever bull crap you're dealing with and keep going, right? Be the best that you can be.